Hi everyone, this is Ralph here at Cardboard Coliseum Games, and today we're going to try something new, and we're going to bring you some footage from the Pokemon trading card game online, and see if I can't keep you entertained at the same time with my deep and sultry tones and my witty and wonderful insights into the world of gaming and its place in modern society. And maybe I'll even talk about the deck a little along the way. Who knows, this might even become your favorite new pastime, like this card game has become one of my new favorite pastimes. So here we have our deck. There's really not a whole lot to it. In fact, honestly, I'd probably be embarrassed if I had any pride as a player yet. It's all based around this fella right here, Greninja. I've become aware since I built this, way back about 2 months ago, that there is actually a break version of Greninja that turns this deck into just a monster. But I'm poor, and we don't have that yet. In the meanwhile, pretty much this entire deck is focused around getting out the 3-stage evolution, Froakie to Frogadier to Greninja, and hopefully beating face with only 1 or 2 energy on the board. Not a whole lot of control, not a whole lot of trickery, just blue aggro. With just enough fun and play to get a little bit of advantage. Here we have the challenge of the day. Not super exciting, but it's called a grind for a reason. It's also why we're playing this little blue Greninja deck instead of fancy dragons or EXs or something. Now this game, I've got to tell you folks, was a joy. As you can see right from the beginning, we have 2 of our 3 pieces of the evolution chain and a Wally, which just sets us up for beautiful success. I usually like to have at least 1 basic to put on the bench with him, but turned out it wasn't so terribly important. My first turn is pretty straightforward, looks uneventful, but boy if it isn't just perfect. Of course, with the evolution rule, I can't go whole hog right away, but getting that 1 energy on the board, seeing all those beautiful pieces, had me feeling pretty confident. I, of course, am just a giant fan of any resource destruction denial in any game, so getting Skull Grunt first turn felt really good, of course, and just made this a little bit sweeter. There's the evolution to Frogadier, to Greninja. Decided to take a moment, take a breath, make sure I knew I had the game in hand, prepare for a next turn in case I had missed something, which as it turns out, I had. 1 Moonlight Slash, 1 bounced blue energy, and 1 dead bunny. I have to say, it felt amazing. It was nice to see my deck right out of the gate, give me something to show you guys. And then it was time to move on to round 2. And as it turns out, round 2, I managed to pull an equally educational opponent, though maybe not quite as fortuitous for me. You remember earlier I mentioned that there is a significantly less budget, significantly more powerful build of the Greninja deck. Well, folks, as it turns out, even an old ugly man like myself can find a mirror once in a while. And, well, here it is for your entertainment. And just to rub a little extra salt in things, I opened up this attempt at getting blue knockouts with 2 colorless fat butt Pokemon instead of my Froakie on the front. But knowing that I was in the mirror, I decided to try and plug forward with the old vanilla gorilla. And, well, here come the results. Just like I would like to see, they managed to pop their turn 1 Wally, which I had saved mine, hoping to draw a Frogadier and make a 2 evolution jump in 1 turn. And they didn't have to be quite so conservative. Here we go, pumping out the rest of their Stage 1 evolutions from their deck. Wasn't too worried when I saw that. I thought maybe I still had a little hope, because here comes Oranguru with one killer shot. I thought maybe I could hold back their energy a little bit and just keep punching for enough. Seemed like a solid defense, but I'm not going to lie, I was looking for defense from the beginning of this game, so probably never stood as much of a chance as I could have. And in true Greninja form, here we are, turn 2. And it's time for giggles. There's Greninja with that same Moonlight Slash that won me the last game. And here comes that lack of budget in a moment here. Recycling Wallies, being much more focused. And turn 2, a break, or Stage 3, as I tend to accidentally call them, is on the board, and things begin to get real very quickly. What I could probably have illustrated better with a right click is the Giant Water Shuriken ability that Greninja break has, which allows him to discard a blue energy and deal 60 damage wherever he likes. And then he can follow up with the same Moonlight Slash that won me game 1 so quickly, wipe out the Vanilla Gorilla, and pretty much cripple my chances. But for your entertainment and the appeasement of what little ego I have, I decided to play out my defenses and see where at least one more turn would bring me. I guess maybe it was a little wasteful to put energy on Snorlax here, but wishful thinking is wishful thinking, and I could have theoretically pulled Froggy or dropped Wally, subbed out into Greninja, and done something. But I'm guessing all the same that was my opponent expecting me to be conceding there and being just a little bit premature. Maybe he was right, but I'm not someone impatient enough to just throw a game away when maybe, possibly, there's something that could happen. And, well, I guess this is what I get for my troubles. My big, bad defensive Snorlax, torn to shreds, Chinese water torture style. And, of course, they get to continue picking up their pieces and furthering the cause of growing more and better Greninjas that I have access to. Which is really a no-hate situation. It's the deck I'm trying to build, and it's proving me right in wanting to build it. But if, folks, you're out there and you see Greninja and you go, wow, this is the guy I want to build, well, this is the deck you actually want to build. Another Moonlight Slash, another Bounced Energy, and I am left with, even in the best of circumstances, a completely indefensible situation. So there is the good game and the conceit. I guess it's a little less than professional for me to show a concession, but it was educational enough that I thought I'd keep it in there. And now we have game 3. And I think this is probably the best game I had played all day. And it's a little longer and more interesting than its predecessors. So I probably won't focus quite as much on the blow-by-blow of the game. And probably take this opportunity to tell you a little bit more about us here at Cardboard Coliseum and what we should be up to in the near future. I did get off to a pretty decent looking start hitting an EX this time, getting Froakie out, having the Duo combo, so I can get my retreat cost down, play a little bit more strategic, looking for more than a turn 4 or 5 kind of game. And unfortunately, the other side of the table, I'm looking at a 2-pack of Taurus EX, which is pretty close to my least favorite Pokemon to run into. Double colorless all across the board. The better you do against it, the more it hurts you. It's a terror. That being said, I did like my chances fairly well. Seeing my evolutionary chain lined up, seeing a couple good support pieces come out. Didn't really mind the switch here. It was just going to be able to pull them back for free. And I think the next turn I spend pretty much just evolving. So, I guess this is a good time to talk about our Patreon that is about to launch and how it currently is set to work. We unfortunately have pretty much a zero budget, especially having to update our equipment. I had to buy the Mac, bought a new microphone. Got lucky, had some cameras donated. You should be seeing things from those soon. But we don't have any finances to offer any material support. We can't offer sealed booster product right now or custom play mats or anything like that. But what we do have are the headers, footers, intros, and outros on our videos. So at least in the beginning of our Patreon, what we're going to be offering are different tiers where you'll be able to get your name either on the scroll that you see across the bottom, in the end credits, or if you're really feeling like a baller and really want to see Central Square get its own comic shop, you can even be listed as a partner in the intro package. All of that is currently getting typed out. Turns out there's a lot of wording and verbiage you have to be careful of when you're lining something like this up to avoid any terms of service problems with things like Patreon and GoFundMe. But the work is being put in, and by the time more than 5 people have seen these videos, the Patreon will be live, and hopefully we'll have something even more interesting to offer you than just having people see your name and know that you are, in fact, one of the cool kids. Getting back to the action, here I am finally getting Greninja on board, getting an energy on him. Everybody's looking hopeful. Having a whale of a good time, you might say. Little base construction, yet another whale. Doesn't really mean to have a whale sub-theme, but seems to be where blue took me. And this is the power of the Greninja. Why it's not Blue Ninja, I don't know. But he can be fun. He is a beast. And someday, I will have his big brother breaks. I believe I saw a GX of him also at one point. Well, that's kind of like the mythical Yeti at this point. I haven't even sniffed Wakabi yet. And big nasty attack, of course. But like a good game of chess, sometimes you take big damage so you can accomplish big goals. And of course, sometimes you go and grab more frogs just to be funny. And I'll be honest with you, I'm kind of getting a soft spot for frogs because I have a whole colony of the things out in my backyard now. We have a nice little creek, and I get serenaded pretty much nightly by what I'm told are called croakers. But they kind of look like green versions of Froakie, so it all works out well in the end for me. I actually think this next little bit here is, much as I fumble around with the controls and take a moment to think while I'm doing it, is actually a pretty solid bit of strategy. I managed to save an injured Greninja, which is quickly becoming my favorite thing to say, as this is about my third take trying to say it without laughing. Injured Greninja. Go ahead and try it, folks. And instead brought up Palkia and managed to get some energy back on the board while allowing the retaliation strike to come onto somebody with a slightly larger butt. Still got the kill. Got to reinforce my dudes. Putting that injury, can you guess where? On an injured Greninja. Sometimes it really does pay off to pull the throttle back and use the least amount of damage necessary to get a kill instead of the biggest possible attack. I realize that's not exactly platinum pro advice, but for anybody new enough to the game that this video has any real educational value anyway, I suppose it's worth stating. Dealing with a Taurus here, honestly, I kind of want to just turn my head and talk about anything other than giant bull Pokemon, but I suppose this is the job I signed up for. Now obviously when you're dealing with an enemy who deals more damage based on counters on him, you basically want to get in 2 shots to a kill, or he's just going to go natters and wipe out everybody you love and their whole families and everyone that ever sold them a pierogi. So, going back to an earlier chess reference, I decided at this point to sacrifice an injured Greninja, get in my damage, and get him within range for Palkia to do the kill shot. I suppose it makes me a very lucky man that my opponent decided to take the kill and not sub out or use some form of chicanery. Maybe bringing in his other Taurus. But instead, he left the door just open enough for me to get the kill. Or, sorry, knockout for those of you who only play Pokemon. Rest of this turn went pretty smooth and as expected. We got Vanilla Gorilla online, good old Oranguru. Little pump fake on the whale. Thought about it. Thought maybe keep another space open for an evolution or maybe my other EX that's buried somewhere in the deck. And then it's one big deep breath. And down goes Taurus. Palkia for the win. Or, at least the knockout. Got some pretty mad prize pool cards. And then it was on to Raging Bull 2, the animated sequel. While this game's wrapping up, I just wanted to take a couple minutes to really drive home the point that as awesome as this game is and as much fun as it is to be able to play with people all around the world and really connect, and really how miraculous that is compared to the days when I grew up when Magic and Pokemon and Dungeons and Dragons were relatively young. Well, I guess D&D was even another 20 years older than that, really. But really, in all of that time, no digital game has ever really filled the same space that could be taken sitting at a real table with real people, friends and strangers alike, and playing a real game. As pretty and shiny as these are with our hologram Palkias and giant pink bulls and vanilla gorillas, none of it really holds a candle to the smell of real cardboard. and the sound of other people, like-minded or otherwise, also engaging in these same games and activities that you enjoy so much, and how that can bring us together despite differences in ethnicity, social class, education level, physical capabilities. And I don't think you can ever truly replicate that in a digital world. You can imitate it in things like MMOs, but really to be in the same room looking people face to face is the core of the human dynamic. And one of the best and easiest ways to get that type of exposure and that type of contact is at a gaming table. That's why I'm so invested in the idea of bringing a game shop to Central Square. A little small town like us really doesn't have another great social center other than the school, which obviously is only for the children and is meant to be more structured and formal and, well, frankly, less fun. And as much as I love the local churches, the fact of the matter does seem to be that they aren't quite drawing in a large enough percentage of the population to really be said to be servicing that need for that kind of social interaction and education. No disrespect to those churches or to the wonderful men and women that run them, but I think maybe in this area they could use a little backup. And there we go with the concession. We wrap up the round and the daily challenge of getting our blue knockouts. 2 Tauruses in 1 game. Feels pretty good. And as usual, there are the stars in the background saying that I did in fact complete the challenge, but I don't get to see it because it's not important enough, I guess. Thank you again, everybody who stayed with us this long. I promise that the videos will get better and the play will improve as quickly as I can manage at my age. Please consider showing your support in the comment section, liking, subscribing, going to the Patreon or GoFundMe pages and donating. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, or right here on the YouTubes. We are Cardboard Coliseum, and we are everywhere.